everything changes.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome in. Rockstarflipper here, and it's August 6th, 2019, and part of what I do on this channel sometimes involves a little bit of tough love, and I think that a couple videos I put out recently didn't really get the point across the way that I wanted them to, and what I'm talking about is sell-through rates and having junk items in an eBay store. And one of the hardest things I have to do, for those of you that don't know, I probably review around 100 eBay stores a week, at least, give or take, sometimes more, sometimes less. People send me over their stores, I go through it, I evaluate everything from titles and photos and pricing and promoted listings and shipping costs and fees and handling, and I do everything, like a top to bottom, start to finish, review the store, I send it back. I send back basically a list of suggestions, things they should be fixing, things that are not good, and it really helps turn around stores. I've had people go from a couple hundred in sales to a couple thousand. I've had people go up a little bit, a lot, and it sometimes helps to have a second set of eyes. But one thing you can do for yourself without me, if you're interested in me looking at your store and you definitely want me to take a look, I threw up a link. It's down in the description box. I'll be more than happy. You can use it. We're in the 8th month, so I just made it like $8. You just basically click the link and it'll auto email you, and then you send me in your store info, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. But something you can do for yourself, if you decide to go that route with me, that's awesome. If not, you need to go through your items, and the best way to do this is, I guess, just to kind of create a spreadsheet. I'll probably put up a little picture, but you can do this on your own. Go through and select the item, and the 3 steps that you have to do to figure out if the item is even worth selling. There's 3 things that you have to basically analyze on it, and the pictures and the title and the description and all that is super important. Once you have a good item, you have to list it correctly, but half the battle is actually having something that people are going to be interested in. You can have the most amazing pictures and the best price and title and everything in the world. If it's something no one wants, it's just gonna sit, right? So step number 1 to finding items that people really, really want, or to knowing if it's an item people really want, because we can't know everything, is to look at sell-through rate and sold numbers on eBay's sold platform. And we're talking about eBay right now. So you're gonna search for the item, and I'm just gonna pull one out from over here on my tie pile that I'm working on. And so this is just a J. Garcia tie. And so even though I might not find any of this identical tie, if I can find one close, or I can find something similar, maybe you have like a Tommy Hilfiger polo that's green striped, and you can only find a couple green ones that, you can look up striped. As long as you're close, if you're looking up large polos, that's great, extra large by the size. You don't have to get too specific, although you can knock it down. Look up the item and find out how many have sold in 90 days. The default eBay sold is 90 days. So you're just gonna look the item up and click solds. All we care about, first step, is how many have actually sold. If you look up a given item, whether it's generic or whether it's a broad search or a small search, and only 12 have sold in 90 days. Remember, eBay has what? Somebody help me with the number, 30 million buyers on a given month, 30 million people buying things. So if only 12 of something in 90 days, you're talking about 4 have sold all month, 1 a week in 90 days. Out of 30 million people, there's no demand. Nobody wants it. Now, the exception to that is obviously if you're selling a rare, unique item. If you're selling a shirt, it's not rare and unique. I mean, if you find one Michael Jackson 1980 t-shirt and there's only 1 or 2 selling, then yeah, that's rare. People are gonna want it, they're gonna collect it. But typically, otherwise, if there's only a couple selling, nobody wants your item. It's just not worth selling. If you picked it up for $1 and you could sell it for 40 or 50, and you want to wait for a year, year and a half, 2 years, I guess. Otherwise, just know that you can't have those items. Look at the number of solds. Step number 1, if there's no demand, there's no reason for you to supply it. You're not gonna automatically overnight become the only supplier of bright green, neon, whatever that no one wants. That's just the way it is. And it's hard for people, the tough love part of this is it's hard for people to admit that they have junk. But the minute they go through their store, they find the junk, they blow it out for like $9.99 free shipping or auction, and they donate some of the absolute garbage and realize that things aren't, if you've got a box of paper clips, who cares? Unless you're an office supply person, nobody's going to eBay specifically to look for paper clips, not like that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is the sell-through rate percentage. So once you have an idea that something is in demand and has a little bit of sales, you know, it doesn't have to have thousands of items sold, it just has to have a little bit of demand. You gotta find the percentage. So let's say that you find an item. Let's say that this J. Garcia tie in red has 200 sold over 90 days. Okay, that's not a ton, but it's a start. It means 200 people, you know, 2 people a day, 2.5 people a day are looking for one. Okay, so that's a start, not great, but it's a start. So how many are active? If we go over to active and there's 400 or 500 active, well, we know that almost a third or a half in some cases have sold of all the ones that are listed. Let's say there's 400, right? And 200 sold. So there were 600 total listed, and I've preached this in other videos. And we know 200 out of those 600 that totally went up on the site actually sold. A third of all J. Garcia ties sold. Now, I don't know the real number, I'm not looking at it, but let's just say that's the number. Let's say there's 200 active and 200 sold. That means 400 total ties were listed and half of all those ties sold. It's a great percentage. It's 50% over 90 days. It's what, 16, 17% a month. Not bad. There's no set percentage we're looking for. If something's got a 90-day percentage of, you know, 30% or higher, it's probably decent. 40, 50% is better. If it's in the 20s and 10s, that's probably bad. So in other words, if there's 900 active and 100 items sold, that means 1,000 were listed and only 10% of all the ones that were listed sold over 90 days. That's 3.33% a month. That's not so good. That's pretty bad. So, you know, if something has sold items, it means there is some demand for it, but you can expect it to be slow if the percentage is down. So you've got to look at the number that's sold and you have to look at the percentage. So we're going to look at 1 and 2. Now, the third thing that we're gonna look for that you really have to decide if it's junk is obviously the price. If you look through all the J. Garcia ties and tie after tie is $4.99, $3.99, $5.99, well, is that gonna be worth your time? You could have an entire store of ties that are selling for $1 profit, and even if you paid a quarter for it and you're making 3 times your money, 4 times your money, whatever it is, after fees and shipping, of course, say you're selling it for $5 or $6, whatever, you're gonna have to sell at $1 or $2 profit, you know, even to just make $1,000 a month, you have to sell 1,000 ties or 500 or 600 ties or whatever it might be. And that's a lot of work and a lot of ties. So you have to decide what is worth your time at that point. If it's got really good sell-through rate and a whole lot of them are selling and you wanna do some volume on it and you're paying cheap, certainly you can go that route, but try to target, you know, I get ties like I just sold actually a couple of these if I can find it. I sold 2 of these in the last couple of, in the last week or 2. They're called Thomas Pink. They're from Britain. And pink ties, they do well. We sold one for 24 and one for 22. And so the sell-through rate was good. They were selling about 5 a day and the percentage was good. It was like 50% over 90 days. So I was like, all right, this is a good tie. I paid 50 cents for it and it sold for 22, 24, whatever those 2 were, 23 and 24. And so that profit ends up being, you know, like 15 bucks. Okay, well that's great. Now $15 a tie. Now we got something to work with. So look at how many have sold, look at the percentage, and look at the dollar amount, whether it's gonna be worth your time. If you have bad items, you have bad items. You just have to go through it and really be honest with yourself. If you know, I've had people email me with stores like this week and last week that had, I don't know, 1,800 items, 1,600 items, and only selling 2 a day. And when I go through the store, I'm like, look, you have good items. You've got, you know, 500 great brands and great items. But then I look and I see that they have like, you know, Aeropostale t-shirts or, you know, that ink t-shirt or a Jones New York pair of pants, and I look up the solds and there's like 5 sold all 90 days long, and that doesn't even count the size differences. And then I look through the sell percentage and there's like 1,000 pair of those pants listed and only 5 have sold in 90 days. I'm like, it's like a 0.25% sell-through rate with only 5 selling. Nobody wants them, nobody's looking for them. The ones that are listed hardly ever sell. And when I looked up the average sell price on sellhound.com or Terapeak, it's like 10 bucks, less fees and shipping is like a $2 net or a $1 net. So I'm like, look, you barely have a chance of selling this item. Nobody wants it. And when it does sell, you're only making a couple bucks if you're lucky. This is not an item to keep in your store, because even when it does sell, you're not gonna have any profit to show for it. And while it's not selling, while it's sitting in your store, it's just dragging it down. So really take a hard look. Some people might be like, oh, well, yeah, I probably have a couple bad items. And that's true, everyone has bad items in their store always, but when you really get down to it and you look at your store, I bet you're gonna find a huge percentage. If even 20% of your store is bad, 10, 15, 20%, that will drag the rest of the store down. It's an absolute proven fact. eBay tracks it. Before it was just good till canceled, when we could do all kinds of different 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, any of the good till cancels that you have that grow older than 12 months, that have been in your store 12 months, eBay will actually put a little note under it that says this item has not sold in 12 months or in 16 months or whatever. Consider editing it, repricing it, taking it down, whatever it says, that little note under it. So eBay is tracking how long those items are in your store and definitely dragging your store down from that. So please take an honest look at your store. If you have junk, it's nothing to be ashamed of. We all buy bad stuff. We're all new. We all don't know what we're doing when we get started. So take them down, reevaluate your store, only have the good items. And the thing I'm gonna leave you with, there's somebody, I'm not gonna publicly pull them out, but there's somebody with 800 listings who sometimes watches my channel, sometimes not. Anyways, they have like 800 listings and they sell 25 a day. And part of it is because they have amazing, awesome items, brands, everything they put up is picky. They're not worried about listing 20 or 30 a day. They do list every day, but they only have to put up 5 or 10 items a day to recoup, 25 listings a day. Every single day that they sell 600, 700, 800 items a month, and that's what they relist. So it can be done. You don't have to have thousands of items as long as you're picky and sell the right stuff. Okay, if you do want me to take a look at your store though, it's down below. You can buy it as just a store review, 8th month, $8. Take advantage of that. And if you would rather just have the entire training program where I show you all my tips and tricks and everything, that includes a store review as well as the VIP group membership. So that'll be the second link below that, where you can just get everything. Instead of just one little store review, you can get the whole kit and caboodle, kabang, everything under that. I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful night. Get those stores in order. Really take a look at it. Give yourself some tough love, and comment down below. Let me know how many items you deleted, removed, all that good stuff. Let me know how your little store audit went. I love to hear from you guys. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you next time.